the Amish potato method that produces massive yields effortlessly. If you grow potatoes, this might be the most useful thing you watch this season. There's a technique most gardeners have never heard of, and the results are hard to believe until you see them yourself. We're talking about pulling more potatoes from 4 square feet than most people get from an entire 30-foot row. No expensive equipment, no complicated setup, just a method that Amish families in rural Ohio have quietly relied on for generations, built around one simple truth about how potato plants actually work. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that truth is and how to put it to work in your own garden this season. So let's begin with understanding how and why this method was developed. Amish families don't garden as a hobby. They garden as a necessity. With large households to feed and limited land to work with, every square foot of growing space has to earn its place. Over generations, Amish growers developed a deep understanding of how food plants actually behave from years of careful observation and a genuine need to get more from less. Their approach to potatoes is one of the most elegant examples of this thinking. Instead of spreading out horizontally, they grow upward. Instead of giving the plant wide rows, they give it height. But here's the thing that makes this method more than just a clever trick. Once you understand what's happening underground, you'll never look at a potato plant the same way again. Most of us were taught that if you plant a potato, it grows, and the new potatoes form somewhere around the base of the plant. That's true, but it's only part of the story. Potato plants produce tubers from specialized underground shoots called stolons. These stolons grow outward from the buried portion of the stem, not just from the roots, but from the stem itself. Every inch of stem that's underground is a potential launch point for new stolons, and every stolon tip can develop into a new potato. In a traditional row garden, you plant your seed potato, cover it up, and maybe hill the soil once or twice as the plant grows. That means you have maybe a few inches of buried stem-producing stolons. That's it. But what if you kept burying more of the stem throughout the season? What if every few weeks as the plant grew taller, you covered it back up, leaving just the very top leaves exposed? That buried stem keeps generating new stolons at every level. The plant doesn't just produce potatoes at one depth, it produces them throughout the entire column of soil layer after layer from bottom to top. That's the entire secret. More buried stems equal more potatoes. Everything about this method is designed around that one biological truth. So let's get to the actual method. The first step will make or break your results, so pay close attention. Start with the right variety. Not all potato varieties respond to this method the same way. Potatoes fall into 2 broad categories: determinate and indeterminate. Determinate varieties, which include many popular choices like Yukon Gold and Red Norland, set all their tubers at a single depth early in the season. No matter how much you hill them or how tall their growing container gets, they won't produce additional layers. They're simply not built that way. Indeterminate varieties are the ones you want. These keep producing new stolons and new tubers along the stem as the plant grows taller and more stem gets buried. Varieties like Russet Burbank, Elba, German Butterball, and Canela Russet are excellent choices and are exactly the types that experienced vertical growers tend to favor. Using the wrong variety is the most common reason people try this method and end up disappointed. Get this right first and everything else falls into place. Use certified seed potatoes, and about 2 to 3 days before planting, cut your seed potatoes into egg-sized pieces, each with at least 2 eyes, and let the cut sides dry out in a shaded spot. This simple step prevents rot once they're in the moist growing environment. Then comes the structure, and this part surprises people because it costs almost nothing. Take a length of welded wire fencing, the kind with rectangular openings you can find at any hardware store, and bend it into a cylinder. 3 to 4 feet across is the sweet spot. Lock the ends together, stand it upright, and you have your growing container. Now find it a home in full sun, not partial sun, not morning light with afternoon shade, 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, minimum. Because here's the one thing potatoes will not forgive: shadow. If you don't have wire fencing, a large barrel with drainage holes drilled into the sides and bottom works beautifully. What matters is that it's at least 3 feet tall and allows for drainage. Now comes the actual planting process. Place 4 to 5 seed potato pieces cut side down, eyes facing up on top of your initial layer of growing mix. Space them evenly around the container. Cover them with another 4 to 6 inches of your compost straw mixture and water everything thoroughly until moisture is visibly draining from the bottom of the container. Your tower should be about 12 inches deep at this point. Now you wait. Within 1 to 2 weeks, green shoots will begin pushing through the surface. This is where most conventional gardeners stop. But this is exactly where the Amish method continues to build momentum. Every time those green shoots grow 8 to 10 inches above the surface of your growing mix, add another 4 to 6 inch layer of compost and straw around the stems. Bury most of the growth, leaving only the top 3 or 4 inches of leaves exposed to the sun. At first, this feels counterintuitive. You've worked to grow a plant and now you're burying it again, but what's happening underground is extraordinary. Every inch of newly buried stem is producing new lateral shoots, and each of those shoots is reaching outward in the darkness, fattening into a new potato. You'll repeat this healing cycle 3 to 4 times over the course of the growing season, gradually filling the container from bottom to top. Each new layer represents an entirely new tier of potato production. By the time your container is full, you don't have a garden bed anymore. You have a vertical column of food producing at every level simultaneously. Now, if we talk about watering and feeding, check the soil every couple of days. Water deeply when it's dry and let compost do the heavy lifting. Add organic fertilizer every few weeks and go easy on nitrogen. It grows leaves, not potatoes. Last but not least, here are some signals to watch. When your plants flower, stop adding layers. That bloom means tuber formation is happening and the plant needs to finish what it started, not start something new. 4 to 6 weeks later, the vines yellow and die back. Don't rush this. Those final weeks are when the potatoes put on real weight and develop the skin they need to store properly. Harvest when the vines are fully dead, unwrap the wire, let the whole column collapse, then start sifting. Potatoes will be waiting at every level from the top of the pile all the way down to the ground. You built a tower. It hid the harvest inside itself the whole time. Now, let's talk about what you can realistically expect, because honest expectations matter more than exciting promises. A first-year vertical tower done correctly with the right variety, good consistent watering, and a solid compost mix typically yields somewhere between 40 and 60 pounds of potatoes from a 4 square foot footprint. That is genuinely remarkable productivity for such a small space. With experience, better variety selection, dialed-in watering, and richer compost, those numbers climb meaningfully. Seasoned growers consistently report yields well beyond that first-year range. What you should not expect is perfection in year 1. The first season is about learning how your specific materials behave, how quickly your tower dries out in your climate, how your chosen variety responds to the layering process. Every season you refine, and every season the harvest improves. The reason this method has quietly persisted in Amish communities for so long is because it works. It works reliably, it works in a small space, and once you understand the biology behind it, it makes complete intuitive sense. If you're planting your garden this season and you've been dedicating a long row to potatoes with underwhelming results, this is the year to try something different. 4 square feet, a wire cylinder, the right seed potato variety, and the patience to keep healing. That's all it takes.